how do you address the Cliff fight when his Aerodactyl is using Rock Throw compared to when his Aerodactyl is using Bite? Because these are definitely scenarios where you do need to handle it differently most of the time. Now, everyone's account is different. You know, everybody's got different skill levels, and your trainer level actually affects how high the CP is going to be with these Aerodactyls. You can see actually the one on the left that's using Rock Throw is 10-2-2-3, whereas the other one is 10-7-1-2. That's because the account on the right actually going up against Bite, which I would argue is the harder move. It's the more difficult move usually to go up against. Again, everybody's in a different place, right? So the first thing to say is normally all of my videos, every single one of them, we go below 1500 on the CP amounts of our Pokemon, and that's just to illustrate that yes, we can still beat Cliff with 10,000 CP plus on his Pokemon below the Great League levels, right? But this Terrakion on the right is actually above that, and that's only simply because I have so many videos on this channel already that you can go through to defeat Cliff's Aerodactyl that are below 1500. So I've kind of run out of Pokemon to show. I try to use new ones all the time, that's why. So okay, Steelix generally on the left side. Good Pokemon for a lot of Team Go Rocket fights. You know, we've actually used it a bunch, but the Terrakion on the right, the main kind of aspect of this, you could actually use it against Rock Throw as well. The Terrakion would do really well in that case. You wouldn't want to use it against Steel Wing, and the only reason we are not addressing an Aerodactyl that uses Steel Wing right here is because it's sort of the in-between of these two, right? Like Bite is a really fast attack. It doesn't do a lot of damage per hit, but because it goes so fast, it feels like this thing is attacking me so fast that it seems like it does a lot of damage. Whereas Rock Throw is a little bit slower than all the others, but it hits so hard per hit. Now, the thing about Dragalge here actually coming out is it's going up against Cradilly. Normally, we would want to be dealing super effective damage. We're actually not in this case of Dragalge. The one thing about it is it's a little bit bulky, even though it looks like me. Like, it's like lanky as hell, right? It looks so thin, like you could just blow it down with your own breath. But it actually resists Cradilly hardcore when Cradilly is using grass attacks. So I think you guys are starting to hopefully get a sense that one thing that I'm trying to tell you, no matter what attack Cliff's Pokemon are using, yes, you should address that fight very specifically to those attacks if you are struggling. But the key here all the time is to resist, right? So like you're gonna see actually going up against the Slowking right there in Cliff's second spot on the left side is that Obstagoon. You're gonna resist this. You're gonna resist it pretty well. But the other thing, this is really important, and we talk about this in a lot of the Team Go Rocket fights, is you want a move combination that's gonna be pretty spammy. And this is just for those who are struggling. If you're already beating him, fine. Like, you know, you probably don't need this video. But for people who are struggling, again, and that's why I go below the 1500 CP threshold, right? So these are all Pokemon that have been in events. They've had community days. They've been accessible in some way. But we have very spammy movesets like Chestnut with Vine Whip. Dude, like, it is nuts. And so we're just using Frenzy Plant. You'd have to worry about Superpower. Frenzy Plant is the community day move. So again, Chestnut, kind of good for that. But also Frenzy Plant, it's like, it's OP. And so Obstagoon with Obstruct, that is the community day move as well. Not only is this a spammy move combination, meaning you can fire it off so rapidly, quickly, and easily, but you would typically not use the move Obstruct against a Tyranitar. We opened up with that actually because Obstruct has a guaranteed defense buff for you and defense debuff for the opponent. So you're actually lowering the defense of this Tyranitar, and already Tyranitar is going to be doubly weak, like what, 256% super effectiveness to fighting attacks because Tyranitar is dark and it's rock. So that's why we do want to use Cross Chop. It's just after that first debuffing that we used with Obstruct. So there you have it. Ultimately, if you would have tried to open up with like Steelix going up against Bite, well, it wouldn't have been so great, right? But the Steelix versus Rock Throw, also against Steel Wing, it would be better for that. So again, make sure that you are addressing it based on those typings of Cliff's fast attacks, and that's why you should use the full playlist. So click that as an end screen here. Watching as much as you can of them and learning all the principles is going to help you a lot. And thanks for viewing.